Also, two strikers, right? First time all year, isn't it?
No, I think Ferguson's going to play a line.
Okay.
Wes Pink. And now the starting lineup for the Wolves of FC Buffalo. Starting on defense from the University of Wisconsin, Adam Lemko. At the bench from the University at Buffalo, Max Slavaker. Defending from High College, number 23, Kendall McFadden. Defending number 8 from Bucknell University, Connor Willings. In the midfield from St. Lawrence, Rob Randall. In the midfield from Hartwick College, Chris Walter. In the midfield from Albany, Anthony Rosado. In the midfield wearing number 18 from the University of Buffalo, Brian Knapp. And the midfield from Niagara University, Andrew Ferguson. At forward wearing number 9 from Rochester, New York, Wes Abongwase. And in goal, wearing number 0 from Canisius College, Andrew Coughlin. We now ask that you rise and remove your hats for playing today's United States national anthem. Tonight's officials are Robbie Hugh, Jeffrey Cook, Nathaniel Buck, and Lucas Feathers.
Hello and welcome to All High Stadium, where tonight we have a crucial NPSL matchup between the FC Buffalo Blitzers and Lansing United. I'm Ben Sujimoto, joined as usual by Russ Andolina. Russ, this is a game with huge playoff implications for both teams.
Yeah, massive, Ben. Right now, Buffalo sits in 4th with 16 points. Lansing is in 3rd with 17. So, depending on results tonight, Buffalo could finish as high as 2nd before the night is through. But a lot on the line, and yeah, it's all to play for.
Russ, the last NPSL game that FC Buffalo played was a 4-2 win over Erie, which saw the debut of Gwes Abongwase, who's a Cameroonian striker who was training with the Rochester Rhinos for several months, not signed to a contract, so FC Buffalo, right before the transfer window closed, picked up Abongwase, and now he's in the starting lineup, and he was terrific against Erie. What did you like about Abongwase the first time you saw him?
He's a complete player, really a modern forward. You don't see forwards like that at this level very often. And he did a fantastic job of just being strong in the air. He won nearly every ball that was flighted to him. Really explosive, coming in off the line, just blew by the entire Erie defense. It's too bad that we didn't have a stream for that game because it was really a fantastic performance. And if it's anything like last week, then the fans here and for those of you watching at home are really in for a treat.
A little bit about the FC Buffalo lineup today. The two Marist players, Kevin Kapik and Dylan McVeigh, neither of them are part of the 18. I see Kevin Kapik on the bench. He's not listed currently is part of the 18, but I see him on the bench. No Dylan McVeigh to speak of, and those are two tough losses as they're key cogs to what FC Buffalo has done so far this year. However, I think FC Buffalo's depth should make them okay. You see Rob Randall, who's very good against Binghamton, and you also see Connor Willings move to the right back position. And that's a great spot for him too, because he's very versatile, he's very comfortable, and both Willings and Brandel have proved to be really invaluable in terms of maybe not being the flashiest players, but being very effective and fitting very well into the culture that FC Buffalo has built.
Yeah, Ben, and it's interesting to note too, up top, it looks like Andrew Ferguson will be getting the start, maybe not next to Gwes, but playing off him on the wing. And when he came on last week against Erie, he was very, very effective. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two combine to get together up top.
A close to full-strength side for Lansing United tonight. Very good up top, very good in the back, but it'll be interesting to see how well prepared they are in the midfield. They don't have James DeCosimo, Charlie Constantino, Liam Madden, and Jason Stacy, four guys who have really been the fulcrum of their midfield. They're not here tonight, so there's guys who are a little unproven, Andrew Hill, Jack Smith, guys we haven't seen a lot in the lineup for Lansing this year, so we'll see how quickly they can adapt to the stars of the lineup like Matt Brown, Cholo Petit, Stephen Owusu, and a very good back line as well. We are underway here at Robert E. Rich All-High Stadium. Stephen Owusu tries to get ahead on it on the right wing to kick it off, but FC Buffalo will throw. Thank you for joining us here on WNYmedia.net and in our simulcast on the radio on WBNY 91.3. Here's Gwes Abongwase in a foot race. He gets by the defense. It's a one-on-one with Mink, and he slots it home, and it's 1-0 FC Buffalo. 26 seconds into the game, Gwes Abongwase puts FC Buffalo on the board.
Buffalo, we weren't lying to you. This kid is special. What an incredible run. Just the strength, the composure, the finish, it's all there. And we're not even to the first minute yet, and we're having already Lansing go back to the center circle.
A dream start for FC Buffalo. Gwes Abongwase did a terrific job shielding off the Lansing United center back who fell to the ground. Abongwase one-on-one with Wes Mink just poked it inside the near post, and suddenly we have a 1-0 game. Less than a minute, I think 26 seconds into the game. Lansing now trying to recover. Possession now on Lansing half of midfield. Curled in towards Petit, who tries to head in the direction of Owusu. Knocked away by Connor Willings. Now over to Anthony Rosano. Rosano switches fields towards Rob Randell, sprinting through. Back as it is Freddie Gomez. Now the ball played to Gomez on the left wing, one-on-one with Chris Walter. It's flicked over to Cholo Petit, and a throw-in for FC Buffalo. Again, if you're just joining us, early goal from Gwes Abongwase. A very, very, very good individual effort. A lot of strength on the ball has put FC Buffalo up 1-0. Long throw into the end line. Kept in by Brian Knapp, and a throw-in, a goal kick, for Lansing United.
Yeah, Ben, I don't know how much game film there is no game film on the game from Erie last week, but, in the NPSL, when you don't have the type of scouting you might have at higher levels, you're not sure what's coming through when you have guys like Wes come down to this club from Rochester, and, you can't really game plan for that type of talent and, physicality, and I think Lansing was just caught off guard really early and blew right past everybody, and now they've got to come back and they've got to chase the game a little bit.
That's what just happened to Erie too. Erie wasn't expecting that kind of pace and strength and that package from Gwes Abongwase, and I guess Lansing wasn't prepared either. Good close there by Cholo Petit on Connor Willings, but FC Buffalo will throw in on the right side. Willings throw toward Abongwase, brings it down nicely, spins inside, pokes on the right wing to Brian Knapp. Knapp cuts back to his left foot, serves the ball towards the back post. No one there for FC Buffalo. Austin Dunn heads straight up. Brandel after it, a 50-50 ball, and the foul is whistled on Brandel. Lansing United will have a goal kick coming out. Head coach Eric Rudland for Lansing United already barking some orders from the sideline. Doesn't want to chase this game from down 2 goals early on, so he's really hoping his squad can sort of regain their composure. And this is a team with a very proud history early on. You know, they lost to the eventual NPSL champions last year in the semifinals, losing to the New York Red Bulls U23. So this is a team that's been in big games and won big games. So a 1-goal, I guess, edge early for FC Buffalo shouldn't be too worrying for Lansing, but we'll see if they have any answer at all for Gwes Abangwasi. Ball played forward to Matt Brown. Brown shielded away by Connor Willings. Willings winds up with it at his feet. Now Andrew Ferguson gets pushed by Freddie Gomez, heads back towards his own goal. There's Fox Slaughtermaker. Slaughtermaker swings it to Kendall McFadden. The former Rochester Rhino, now playing as a center back, gives the ball away to Freddie Gomez. Gomez short to Ross Lindsay. Now he plays forward, headed up by Adam Lauko. Now there's Matt Brown, poked away by Fox Slaughtermaker. Brian Knapp tries to run after it. He can't get to it. Ross Lindsay is there. Sees Jimmy Fiskus. Fiskus wide to Lamb. The ball is out of play. Referee's flag is up for a...
Yeah, Ben, one other score to keep an eye on tonight. Cleveland is playing FC Indiana. Cleveland with some games in hand, but they did drop a game last week that was crucial for them. And they'd be the team most likely to try and catch Buffalo in this playoff race. So more from that later.
Great stuff by Lansing midfielder Jack Smith. Did a nice job poking the ball between 2 defenders in the direct. Freddie Gomez now high up from his left back position will throw the ball in deep on the left side of the field for Lansing United. Matt Brown, the biggest target in the box for Lansing. Ball's thrown right into the middle. After it now as Smith has a drive towards goal, but that one's wide and not enough pace on it to really trouble Andrew Coughlin.
Yeah, currently 0-0 in that Cleveland-Indiana match in the 7th minute.
Thank you to Pallet Services, Inc., the sponsor for today's video stream on WNYmedia.net. Also, if you're joining us on the radio, we'll do our best to give you as much direction as we can on the field, as I know you can't see everything that you're seeing on the stream. A throw-in upcoming for Lansing, just beyond midfield. Austin Dunn curls around, plays to the right wing. There's Stephen Owusu. Owusu has a little bit of space. He's brought down in a free kick upcoming for United. Owusu, one of the more dangerous players for Lansing off the dribble. He gave Detroit City FC a tough time in Detroit City FC's 1-0 win just a couple weeks ago, but Owusu, Petit, and Matt Brown all bring something a little bit different to the table. Petit's the really clever one. Owusu's the one who wants to go one-on-one with you, and Matt Brown is just a class finisher from England.
But again, like you mentioned, Ben, some new midfield faces tonight, so will they have to drop pretty deep to get these balls? We'll have to see.
Lindsay's service. McFadden mistimes his jump and heads behind for a corner kick. The first one of the match for Lansing.
Scored by number 9, Gwes Abangwasi. Assist by number 3, Anthony Rosano. That's Abangwasi from Rosano.
Rosano number 16, not number 3 for anyone listening to Nick Mendola here. The service in for Lansing. Up is Abangwasi. He gets the first to it and the second to it. And Anthony Rosano runs onto it. He gives it away though. The first one to it though is Slaughtermaker. Slaughtermaker just launches the ball long down the right wing. And Freddie Gomez will chase after that. Good hustle from Gomez to keep that in play so FC Buffalo couldn't get numbers forward. We have a stoppage, and the trainer's being beckoned over to Gwes Abangwasi, who's down on the ground, holding his face. I wonder if he was hurt on that second header when he collided with a Lansing player. Not sure if it's a facial injury that we're dealing with here or what, but the trainer's off the bench and attending to him now.
Yeah, on that set piece, he really showed his ability to climb the ladder and meet those headers. Not sure. he's looking at his leg, or no, perhaps his face.
Might have been a head-on head collision there, or head-on shoulder, or something like that.
It's the last thing you'd want as a Buffalo, coach or player or owner or fan is see this kind of special talent come, to all high for his first game, score in the first game or first minute rather, and go out with an injury. But I think he'll be okay.
With head injuries too, a pretty sensitive topic, and one where you'd rather see a team or an organization or a training staff be a little bit more hesitant on how they're treated. Gwess is back on his feet right now, getting a drink of water. We'll see if he'll continue. There's no one warming up on the FC. Well, Brett Larock is warming up on the FC Buffalo sideline, perhaps as a precaution. Abongwase walking slowly. Still seems a little gimpy, a little shaky walking over.
And if Gwess does have to come off, Larock is the team's leading scorer, surprisingly, as a bench player, but that's where he thrives, coming off the bench, running entire legs. So if Gwess is done for the night, then Larock isn't going to be too much of a drop-off, just a much different style of player.
Larock is sat back down on the bench. There's a little conversation now between the trainer, head coach Brendan Murphy, and Gwess Abongwase. It looks like Abongwase is going to return to the lineup here just as we pass the 10-minute mark. Ball played forward, won initially by Slotemaker, but Owusu's first to it. Navigates inside of Rob Randall and lays off to Gomez. Gomez plays out of bounds as Cholo Petit hit the ground. Cholo Petit, coming back from injury himself into the lineup for Lansing, is a very integral part of that attack, as you saw Lansing not quite as threatening against Detroit City as they had been in earlier games this year, especially that 4-0 thrashing of Minnesota United.
Lansing's done well since giving up that first-minute goal to really kind of control the flow of the play. Buffalo hasn't had too much of sustained possession or any kind of combinations aside from that goal and one move forward a little bit after that. So Lansing's dealing well with the adversity so far.
Throw in for FC Buffalo now in the 12th minute. The left side is Brian Knapp, FC Buffalo's oldest player. Played professional futsal in Korea. Korea or China?
Korea, South Korea.
South Korea, yes.
In Taegu, I believe. Also location of a 2002 U.S. World Cup game.
Chris Walter hit to the ground, no advantage, so the referee signals for a free kick for FC Buffalo, about 40-ish yards from goal. Rob Randall getting into the box. They push Fox Slotemaker forward. See Buffalo getting some height into the 18-yard box.
Currently, Fort Pitt is leading Erie 1-0, and Cleveland has a penalty, and they just scored against FC Indiana. They are in the 13th minute.
McFadden serves in, headed away by Lansing, but the ball is knocked out of play. Russ, I think it's an adjustment for most visiting teams on this crowned pitch, as you see a lot of throw-ins and a lot of disrupted rhythm in the game. I think that plays to FC Buffalo's favor, as you see Andrew Coughlin come out of his cage and hit it out of bounds to prevent a corner kick.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. You can even tell from where we're sitting, just the way that the field angles down towards
not have been able to keep that ball in place. So the second set piece in the corner for Lansing United. Another dangerous time for Matt Brown maybe to get involved for one of his first touches of the game for Lansing. It's driven towards the back post. Up for it was Ben Lamb, but couldn't get enough on the header. It was all the way back to Freddie Gomez. Gomez with a lobbed ball in, but Andrew Coughlin is there to catch that in, almost like a pop fly for Andrew Coughlin. Russ, we had Andrew Coughlin on the FC Buffalo show on WBNY this week. A very short guest towards the end of this segment, but I didn't know he'd set Canisius' school record in shutouts in his first year at Canisius with 9. You know what the previous school record was?
I don't bet.
It was 4.
Wow.
So Andrew Coughlin obliterated Canisius College's school record for shutouts, and he's continued that with a really strong summer season here with FC Buffalo. I'd say he's probably the best keeper in the entire Midwest.
Yeah, he's been solid this year for sure.
Abongwase back on the pitch. The number 9 for FC Buffalo. Driven forward, Kendall McFadden brings it down. There's a man on his back. Gives it away though. Nice step by Jack Smith for Lansing. Austin Dunn over to Lindsay. Some good quick touches by Lansing now. Jack Smith right in front of the back line. Plays over to now Freddie Gomez on the left side.
Yeah, Ben, you talked about Andrew Coughlin in the playoff race. Going back to that away game against Cleveland a few weeks ago, he was instrumental in preserving that point late on, making some huge saves.
Throw in one by Matt Brown. The striker hands the ball back to Freddie Gomez. Jabari Danzy getting stretched out for FC Buffalo on the bench. So throw into Jack Smith. Smith takes a touch, fakes in the direction of Lindsay. Goes to Fiskus on the right side. Fiskus clips the ball in over Owusu, but Petit's there. Nice flick down to Owusu, but he can't control it, and Slotemaker heads up in the air. A battle between Brandel, Walter, and Petit. No one can win it cleanly, but Owusu with a nice header past Lauco. He tries to serve a ball in, deflected by Lauco and out of bounds. A third corner kick for Lansing United.
Yeah, Buffalo has the goal, but Lansing has the run of play.
Decent turnout too from Sons of Ransom. That's Lansing United's supporter group, probably the best attendance of any supporter group. Right up there with Detroit City FC in terms of visiting teams here in Buffalo this year.
I think the only two, right?
Yes, the only two. Service coming in for Lansing. Blocked by Brian Knapp, the first guy in the wall. And FC Buffalo wants a throw-in for Lansing, but it's deemed a corner kick by the AR. No overrule at all from the center, so another corner kick coming up. Brian Knapp doing a nice job as that initial kind of annoying wall almost 10 yards in front of the corner. Doesn't get a piece of this one though, and Gwes Abangwase is there to win it right out of the air. Ball curled in by Lindsay, headed up by Lauco. All the way back towards Jack Smith. Smith tries to play the ball in low. Can't find any feet, but Freddie Gomez is there to run it down and play back to Wes Mink. 1-0 FC Buffalo here in the 16th minute. Beautiful sunny night in Buffalo, New York.
Nice and cool.
Some space down the right side now. Matt Brown has a chance to run at McFadden. Touches it past him, serves a low ball in towards Owusu. Slotemaker's there, well positioned to hit that one away with his right. Anthony Rosano backs down a player. It's 1-on-3 against Lansing. He stays after it. The Albany product is whistled for a foul. Might have clipped the back of the leg of Jack Smith or something like that, but regardless, it's deemed another free kick for Lansing.
You know, with the mass midfield substitutions that Lansing has to deal with tonight, we thought that they would have maybe a harder time connecting and getting play started, but they've really come together so far, and Buffalo hasn't looked that good going forward.
Smith serves to the back post. A great win by Fox Slotemaker, who was pushed, sort of an and-one play there by Slotemaker to win that ball, also get pushed at the same time. Very good ball in, though, by Jack Smith. And Jack Smith's the guy who we've seen make an impact early on to offset those absences we were saying at DeCosimo, Constantino, Madden, and Stacy. It's kind of a lot to put on one player, but Ross Lindsay, who we've seen play as a substitute for Lansing this year, he's now in the starting lineup, and Jack Smith, as I said, has had a pretty good first 17 minutes to this game. Coughlin's goal kick flicked on by Andrew Ferguson. Here's Abangwase. He has a chance to run on Ben Lamb. Lamb shields him off. Freddie Gomez tries to backheel in his own 18. Not a good idea. Abangwase regains possession. Andrew Ferguson drives to the back post over Brian Knapp's head. Knapp feels like he was sort of pinched to the ground by the defender on him, but he wouldn't have been able to rise to win that header anyhow, and it's a goal kick for Lansing.
Yeah, Ben, going back to the same well, Wes getting in the corner, taking on two guys, winning the ball, creating an opportunity. He's really an all-season threat, if you want to call it that. He's just fantastic when it comes to shielding guys off the ball, getting out of tight spaces. Just hope we can get more service as the game goes on.
Andrew Hill wins it in the midfield for Lansing. Freddie Gomez with two FC Buffalo players on him plays out wide. This is Fiskus to Owusu. Owusu with an early touch flick that Matt Brown will run onto now. He's whistled offsides. Good ball in from Ross Lindsay. Matt Brown maybe a step behind Fox Slotemaker, but there's a chance for FC Buffalo to exhale, as that was a good ball in, and Matt Brown had just maybe anticipated a little too soon that ball in.
Yeah, a lot of these Lansing long balls over the top, they're well weighted, not really finding a connection just yet, but they've got the right idea, and Buffalo needs to be aware of that fact that Lansing midfield's going to be popping those over all night.
Coughlin set piece won by Ben Lamb. Only as far as Laco, though, who heads up to Rosano. Fiskus clears from danger. Having a hard time distinguishing Fiskus and Austin Dunn. We're kind of a long way away from the field. I guess that's my only excuse, but they do look pretty similar from where I'm standing or sitting.
It's tough with the hoops bed.
Freddie Gomez goes towards the left side, won by Chris Walter, who goes to ground. Enough for Andrew Ferguson to come after it. Ferguson plays over the top for Obangwase. A terrific ball. Obangwase shields off a defender, but a recovery. Obangwase still fighting after it. Terrific effort from Obangwase to run that play down himself. Fiskus just managed to get a piece of Obangwase and win the ball. Well done by Jimmy Fiskus, but that was a very good 1v1 battle between the Michigan State player and also Gwes Obangwase. Jack Smith in the midfield for Lansing. Plays forward to Cholo Petit. A good first touch. He's knocked to the ground. Referee decides not to blow his whistle on that tackle. Chris Walters swings over to Adam Lauco. A good first touch from Lauco to Rosano. Rosano goes diagonally. Referee letting the players play a little bit.
Ben, going back to that Gwes opportunity, you know my feelings on the player, but Andrew Ferguson, don't discount his effort there. Really nice over-the-top ball from midfield to find Gwes in stride.
If you're a defender and you're even with Gwes chasing down a ball that's in behind, you're probably not going to win that battle. For our radio listeners, you can't really see him right now, obviously, but he's very well built. He's probably about 6'1", 185, 190. A bit of a tank going forward, not unlike Vinny Bell, actually. Ross Lindsay over to Jack Smith for Lansing. Smith plays Matt Brown, continues his run through. Andrew Hill can't keep possession for Lansing, won by Brandel up to Gwes Obangwase. Over to Chris Walter now. Freddie Gomez gets a hand to that one, wins it going forward, cuts inside, tries to play in Hill, knocked away by Slotemaker. Petit gets in front of, or Slotemaker gets in front of Petit, and Slotemaker clears that one away. Eric Rudlin talking to Freddie Gomez. Seemed like some fairly harsh words of direction there. Throwing up to Brandel. Brandel closed hard by Fiskus. Rosano's first to that ball, but he gives it away. Lindsay plays an early ball over the top. Stephen Owusu in a foot race with Adam Lauco. Lauco can't get it cleanly. Bounces off one of the players and out of play. Ruled to bounce off Owusu and FC Buffalo. Just entering the 23rd minute at Robert E. Rich All-High Stadium. Thank you for joining us on WNYmedia.net and 91.3 WBNY. It is 1-0 FC Buffalo. The goal coming in the first minute off the foot of Gwes Obangwase, making his home debut today for FC Buffalo. Coughlin's goal kick sent skyward. Fiskus wins it out of the air. The second ball, though, falls to Ross Lindsay. A good close by Brian Knapp, though, and Connor Williams. Good ball to Andrew Ferguson. Ferguson gives away, but Jack Smith, it eludes him as well. Brian Knapp with a chance to run to the defense. Knapp slides to the outside, sees Anthony Rosano on the left. Rosano dispossessed by Austin Dunn, and he drags him down. And a set piece for Lansing coming out of the back. Early to Andrew Hill up to Owusu. Owusu not a clean first touch, pushed to the ground by Lauco, and it's deemed a foul.
Ben, going to the Madison Minnesota United Reserves game. Madison's up 1-0, so Buffalo wants to get to second tonight. Madison would have to lose, but given Minnesota's form this year, that doesn't look too likely.
Adam Lauco to Rosano on the left side. Rosano spins, finds Brandel. Ball played towards the target, Obangwase. He's surrounded by three Lansing players, and I believe that's Ross Lindsay who comes away with it. Fiskus to Dunn to Jack Smith. Ben Lamb now on the left side. Pressure from Chris Walter high up the pitch. Forces a play back to Wes Mink. West Mink splitting time with Quinn McEnany this year as Lansing starting keeper. West Mink with a little bit better of a goals against average than McEnany. Here's Jack Smith's long ball up towards Owusu. Good first touch with the chest, plays back to Freddie Gomez. Gomez just lobs the ball in the air. Another 50-50 that falls to Cholo Petit. Petit to Jack Smith. He switches fields to Fiskus, who plays back. Fiskus here now. Fiskus drives it forward. Straight to Kendall McFadden though, and he hits it towards Rosano. Austin Dunn and Brian Knapp jockeying for the ball. Rob Randell's there to claim it for FC Buffalo. Back to Kendall McFadden. He's pressured by Matt Brown, and Randell back to Slotemaker. Ball played long forward. Ben Lamb wins that with a slight height advantage over Guess, and the ball bounces back to Mink.
Nice string of possession for Buffalo there. Not a lot of forward passes, but good to get some more touches on the ball, work their way back into the game.
Discussion between the three center mids for FC Buffalo, the two holding Chris Walter and Rob Randell, and the one attacking and Brian Knapp. A lot of bodies for Lansing, and that's why you saw that spell of possession for Lansing, is FC Buffalo trying to sort their shape out. Easy for me to say. Ball played in. Andrew Coughlin slow to leave his line. It gets a punch to it, only as far as Brandell. Coughlin, you can tell, froze for a moment there because he thought that foul might be on him, but it was whistled on Stephen Owusu, who collided with the keeper.
Yeah, good on Coughlin. Again, not the most physically imposing figure, but did well to come out, challenge the ball, and won it.
Owusu down on the turf, but he gets to his feet quickly. No injury concerns there to speak of. If you look at the benches for both teams today, FC Buffalo, Brett Larock, as you said, 5 goals in all competitions. Nanu Ferguson, who earned most of the starts at the beginning of the season. Eric Dahl, who, like Ferguson, was a regular starter once upon a time. Bobby Ross, FC Buffalo veteran. Cameron Hogg, the backup keeper. Jabari Danzy, who's been a little injury-riddled this year, but has some pace. And also Ian Mort, who's a FC Buffalo favorite from years past. Freddie Gomez plays forward over the head of Matt Brown. Slotemaker pressured by Owusu. Owusu hits him after the play. We have a stoppage. See if Owusu gets in the book there. He's certainly going to get a warning. Gets a firm warning from the center referee.
Got a lot of Slotemaker on that challenge.
Russ, not a huge turnout here tonight, at least in comparison to previous games, but still not too bad. I wonder if we'll see a late arriving crowd too.
Yeah, Friday night in the summer, it's always busy, but my opinion, Friday nights at all high are the place to be.
Willings ball in. West Mink briefly gets that ball lost in the sun. Shades his eyes now, as you can tell. Sun a bit of a factor on that long ball in. Still managed to corral it and end FC Buffalo's threat. Rolls out to Ross Lindsay. Lindsay back to Mink. Austin Dunn, a long ball forward. You're not going to beat McFadden with that ball, though. McFadden heads down to Chris Walter. Owusu dispossesses him. He can run straight at the defense. Owusu pushes by. Nice layoff, but Connor Willings is there to stab his foot out and just get a piece of that ball to end that foray for Lansing. Lindsay, a nice clip ball to the right wing. Austin Dunn is there. Rosano tracks well. The ball's poked out by, said to be Rosano. Rosano can't believe it. And it'll be a corner kick for Lansing.
Yeah, Lansing's doing a good job of flooding the midfield, and Chris Walter is the lone midfielder sitting in front of the defense tonight. So it looked like on there, he's kind of having a hard time going back from end line to end line, or excuse me, from touch line to touch line, chasing down all these balls and all these different off-the-ball runs that Lansing are throwing at Buffalo. So hopefully there'll be some more midfielders dropping back later on to assist him with that.
Set piece, good one. Drops at the back post. I don't think Ben Lamb was expecting that ball to get all the way to him at the back stick. And it just dribbled out of bounds pretty harmlessly.
Madison 56ers 1, Minnesota United Reserves 0, Fort Pitt 1, Erie 1, Cleveland 1, Indiana 0, and Buffalo Sabres 2, Buffalo Sabres 0.
Coughlin's ball driven forward, won by Lamb. Petit gets that second touch, but only as far as Connor Willings. Ross Lindsay with a nice touch on that high ball. Brian Knapp after it tries to poke to Obongwase. Doesn't work out for FC Buffalo, and Owusu turns Willings very nicely. Tracked back by Brandel. Slaughtermaker pulls Owusu to the ground, and he'll definitely go into the book for this one.
Yeah.
Yellow card to Fox Slaughtermaker in the 30th minute. I think a no-brainer of a yellow right there.
Yep, and a necessary yellow, I think. Splitting through the defense like that. Look, he turned the corner a bit. It'll be tough going for the forward in the next 60 minutes.
Still, at least 3 Walter, not he of 16 yellow cards in 40 matches.
About 50 minutes here from halftime. You might want to think about trying to stretch the field if you're Brendan Murphy, Julian Akizi, Jabari Danzy, guys like that who can really offer you pace on the wings and maybe give an option or take some attention off West up top, or let Andrew Ferguson pick a pass from midfield.
Yeah, touches have been hard to come by for West since that first minute goal, without a doubt. Jack Smith looks like he'll strike this one for Lansing. He drives it in off the wall, but to the back post. There's a shot cleared off the line brilliantly by Adam Lauko. Outstanding work as Andrew Coughlin was beaten, but Lauko slid to the ground and knocked that one off the line. Brilliant stuff from the Wisconsin Badger. Now Coughlin punches one away to Gwes Obongwase. FC Buffalo dodging a bullet, now with a chance to counter though. Obongwase loses a Andrew Hill, now he slices inside, keeps his balance, running at the defense, almost a 40-yard run now, finally loses it to Austin Dunn. Played forward, but can't beat Rosano. Rosano plays up Obongwase offside and doesn't try for the ball, so there's no whistle and it's out for a goal kick. Beat Andrew Coughlin cleanly, but I saw Adam Lauko just sliding and parrying that ball away, saving a goal, a sure goal in the 31st.
Yeah, heroic defending.
Ferguson slides to the ground, but only as far as Owusu. Owusu's certainly been the danger man for Lansing early on. Freddie Gomez whistled for a foul. He's not pleased with that.
Yeah, Buffalo kind of having a tough time in transition. You saw Gwes on that break, and Buffalo committed numbers forward, but you got to be mindful of the gaps, especially when you have the kind of speed that Lansing has out on the left side here.
For FC Buffalo wearing 18. U.S. playing Haiti tonight in the Gold Cup for us.
They are.
I believe that's 8 o'clock on Fox.
8:30 kickoff.
8:30 kickoff.
Fox does a weird job of promoting their games.
Here's Knapp's throw-in. Bounces in the box. Cleared away by Ross Lindsay, I believe.
All during the Women's World Cup. Always asking, is it 8:30 kickoff? Got to clarify, folks.
It was frustrating. I remember watching one game at halftime and thinking, why is it halftime? Brandel with a really good throw in towards Obongwase. Ben Lamb clears that from danger. Walter heads back to McFadden for FC Buffalo. McFadden slices the ball forward, offsides Obongwase. He holds his run. Brandel almost gets onto it. Lauko almost gets onto it. Jack Smith switches fields. Austin Dunn slices inside. Ross Lindsay. Not a whole lot of options for Lindsay. Clips it forward to Andrew Hill. Hill wheels away from Brandel. Nice play over to Cholo Petit. Petit on the right side now. Scoots the ball over to Dunn up from his right back position. Serves in, blocked by Adam Lauko. Adam Lauko, maybe the unsung hero this year for FC Buffalo. Nothing really flashy about his game, but he's very solid, a terrific defender. He's defended some pretty good players in the Big Ten, without a doubt. Back to Cholo Petit. He has a drive, snared by Andrew Coughlin. Little too much space given to Cholo Petit there. Had a free crack at goal.
Yep.
Coughlin, superb dive to his right. Did not concede a rebound too. Just very good goalkeeping from the Canisius College backstop.
Very good to say anything about Andrew Coughlin. His shot-stopping ability is very excellent.
Chris Walter wins that 50-50. Ball falls to Gwes Abangwasi. Has Andrew Ferguson on the right wing. Abangwasi plays a bit of an aimless ball forward that'll go out of play for a goal kick. His eyes got... Final 10 minutes of the first half. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Tsujimoto here with Russ Andolina. Thanks for checking in on WNYmedia.net as well as 91.3 WBNY on our simulcast radio. Ben Lamb sees Owusu checking back to him. A fine first touch by Owusu. Owusu tries a 1-2 with Cholo Petit. Misjudges the weight of the ball, and Rob Randell keeps it to Andrew Ferguson. Niagara Purple Eagle over to Connor Willings. Willings pokes towards Rosano, given away. Now a chance with Cholo Petit, about 15 yards of space in front of him. He'll run at him. Andrew Ferguson tries to help out. Petit tries to slip a ball in, but Fox Slotemaker goes to ground and wins that. Nifty turn by Ross Lindsay gets him away from two players. Now Cholo Petit has another drive. This one sails over the target. Lansing starting to create some opportunities.
But yeah, Buffalo needs a bit more organization going forward for the rest of this game. They want to maintain this lead and really threaten for a second.
Played forward by Lauco. Fiskus is there, wins it. Left side of the pitch, Adam Lauco gets forward. Here's his throw into the box. Jack Smith heads down, but right to Andrew Ferguson. Ferguson tries to get it on the volley. Can't get it cleanly, and it falls to Wes Mink. Mink out to Austin Dunn on the right side. Dunn, a square ball to Jack Smith. Smith switches fields towards Owusu. Owusu gets ahead to it, will fall to Matt Brown. Doesn't see Kendall McFadden, who closes in on Brown and wins that ball. Matt Brown thought he was in alone, but McFadden covered about 5 or 10 yards in a split second and won that one.
Yeah, you said before, Ben, Kendall McFadden, probably the best natural athlete in the whole conference, and he exhibited that, tracking back well to nip in and just knock it away from Brown at the critical moment.
Lansing doing a better job now isolating Petit and Stephen Owusu. They're two best players off the dribble, and that's why FC Buffalo is having a little bit of a hard time adjusting. Set piece served in and hit up by Andrew Ferguson. Good defensive play there with him tracking back on the corner kick. Brian Knapp keeps it, has Andrew Hill coming from behind him. Hill brings him down. Rosano gets past Lindsay, tries to poke away from Gomez, can't do it. No talking to or anything for Andrew Hill after that tackle of Brian Knapp from behind. Thrown from Willings to Chris Walter. Walter slots it to Rosano on the right side. Rosano pushed down by Freddie Gomez, gets back up, plays the ball off his feet for a blitzer throw. Rosano leaves for Connor Willings, who will throw it in. Deep throw to Rosano. Rosano has two players on him. Ball's knocked off of him, out of play for a throw in for Lansing. Rosano just picks it up and chucks it to the middle of the box. Now down the line, flicked by Andrew Hill to Owusu, now to Matt Brown's feet. Brown double teamed by Chris Walter. Very good double team from Walter there. Lauco plays forward towards Abangwase. Ben Lamb basically just gives him a bear hug from behind. He doesn't agree with that call, but Abangwase draws a set piece about 30 yards from goal.
West still won it too.
Andrew Ferguson, the older of the two Ferguson brothers. Matt Nanu Ferguson wearing number 14, he's on the bench. He'll be a junior at Niagara, while Ferguson, number 7, enters his senior year. Connor Willings and Ferguson, we're about ready for this set piece. I believe it's a 4-man wall or a 3-man wall. Can't see really from my angle. Ferguson will strike it. That one sails well over the net. Splits the uprights, I believe. It's good. Sons of It's jarble sometimes for us. Wes Mink will take the goal kick as we head to the 40th minute. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. FC Buffalo leading 1-0. Headed down by Brian Knapp to Gues Albanwase. Pushed to the turf by Ben Lamb. You know he's going to go into the book, but we'll see what color that card is. It's yellow. Just a vicious tackle. Ben Lamb on Albanwase. Basically just a sure sign that when Gues Albanwase is running at you, there's not much you can do about it.
Nope. And similar to Fox Slaughtermaker's card, probably a necessary card.
Yes, agreed.
Barreling in on a goal like that, but Gues much. The fact that he didn't score at Erie, this is his first goal. That's controversial, I know. That goal that wasn't called off the crossbar, but he really is, effective whenever he's around the ball, drawing fouls like that, or just, winning balls in the air.
The set piece being pushed back about 5 yards farther back than I thought it was. Ferguson does an exact replica of the free kick they did before. Same spot, split the uprights again. I doubt you'll see Ferguson take the next set.
Madison doubles their lead 2-0. Looks like it's still 1-1 Erie for Pitt and 1-0 AFC Cleveland.
The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Russ Andolina.
Yes.
Ben Lamb back to Wes Mink. Mink feels some pressure. Plays it forward. Rob Randell wins that header down to Albanwase. Jack Smith, though, beat him to the ball and now runs forward with Cholo Petit. There's a Lansing player on the ground grabbing his face. That is probably Matt Brown. Everyone a little confused because it was away from the ball. Not sure if it was a stray elbow or something. Now Owusu really getting into the referee's face. Trainer.
Stray elbow.
Matt Brown, the captain of this Lansing side, also one of the older players on this Lansing side. He's known to talk a little bit, I think, on the field and to have some discussions with the referees, which, it tends to draw the ire, sometimes of opponents. I don't know. I'm not saying this wasn't intentional. It could have just been a collision away from the ball that had no intent at all. It's hard to say. Matt Brown certainly not happy about it. But he's up walking towards the bench. I believe he'll be able to continue. It looks like he's... Brown runs to the center line. He'll check in. 1 minute, about 90 seconds actually remaining in the first half. Andrew Coughlin sends the ball forward. Gomez wins it for Lansing, but the ball falls to Rosano on the right side. Rosano has some space to run it. Gomez tries to poke it past him, but Gomez wins that. Slides nicely away from Chris Walter's tackle. Now drives the ball forward down the line by Stephen Owusu. Owusu with Connor Willings chasing him, one-on-one in the touchline. Owusu pushes it past him, drives the ball in low to the back post. Kendall McFadden, an outstanding dive and hit over the bar as Matt Brown was lurking there for a tap-in. But Freddie Gomez, brilliant build-up out of the back, beat Chris Walter cleanly, served the ball into Owusu. Owusu, with his speed, pushed past Connor Willing, served the ball in, but McFadden, perfectly positioned again, slid and knocked that ball.
Emergency last-ditch defending. Don't want to see too much more of that if you're Buffalo.
Andrew Hill with a service, in-swinger. Throws the ball to the back post. Up is Ben Lamb, but that's caught easily by Andrew Coughlin. 1-0 FC Buffalo heading into the 45th minute here. We'll probably have a little bit of stoppage for the injuries. Freddie Gomez heads high into the air. Owusu flicks towards Matt Brown. Slotemaker wins that header. Falls to Brandel. Nice first touch to Brian Knapp. Tries to volley towards Abangwasi. Now here's Andrew Ferguson. Switches fields in the direction of Rosano. Freddie Gomez recovers nicely, but Walter wins that header. Lindsay along the touchline. Owusu wins that. Owusu underrated in the air. He's gotten up and won a lot.
Some would say Brett LaRocque-esque.
We're into stoppage time. 3 minutes of the stoppage time.
Jack Smith sends the ball back into his own end. Really to no one in particular, but Fiskus will run it down. Flips the ball across to number 4, Ben Lamb. Lamb over to Gomez. Gomez forward for Owusu. Doesn't win that aerial challenge cleanly. Rob Brandel jumps into Jack Smith, but falls to Matt Brown. Well, as far as Cholo Petit curls the ball in, shot from a tough angle by Andrew Hill, parried away by Andrew Coughlin. Another shot on target though for Lansing, as United have, I wouldn't say fully dominated, but had the better of the run of play in the last 15 or 20 minutes of this first half.
I think the key is the midfield. They've really just had full run of that central channel, even on the left. So Buffalo needs to find a way to try and shore up that part of the field. Maybe that's dropping more guys in the midfield to protect the back line, or maybe that's getting a guy like Julian Akizi out there to take advantage of the gaps that have to be coming with Lansing pushing so far up on the left-hand side. There's going to be spaces to exploit. So if Buffalo wants to get on the counter, you got to have the players with pace on the wings to be able to do that.
Fortunately, as you said, FC Buffalo's roster blessed with plenty of pace and wing depth, so I think we'll see Danzy and Akizi in the second half.
Yeah.
Here's the set piece, a curler right at Andrew Coughlin. Not a bad look from Ross Lindsay there, but I think the several Lansing players in the box would have liked a service rather than a shot. We're in stoppage time of the first half. Freddie Gomez wins a header to Owusu. He can't keep it in play. Throw in for the Blitzers, just beyond midfield on the right side. Chris Walter feels pressure from Cholo Petit. Hit to ground. It's going to be a throw in for FC Buffalo. Stephen Owusu doesn't like that decision and tries to throw it in himself. Finally gives it back to Connor Willings. Willings throw to Abangwase. His touch lets him down, looking into the sun, and Lansing will throw. Starting to get a little sloppy now as we wind down the first half.
Yeah, good on Lansing. They took that early punch and just kept coming back and committing numbers forward and really being effective, like I said, through that central midfield channel.
Russ, don't be shocked if we see Eric Dahl in the second half, right out of the gate. We're at halftime here in Robert E. Rich All-High Stadium. FC Buffalo leads 1-0 behind a first-minute goal from Wes Abangwase. We'll talk to you in 15 minutes here on
Big Dish Brewing Company. Again at halftime, FC Buffalo leads 1-0.
Welcome back to Robert E. Rich All-High Stadium, where FC Buffalo leads Lansing United 1-0. Again, I'm Ben Sujimoto with Russ Andolina. Russ, the first half has started off brilliantly for FC Buffalo, but you can sort of feel the momentum shift about.
Lansing really came back well, and they settled into a dominant role in the midfield, really winning a lot of balls, second balls in that space in front of the Buffalo. Trying to put some more steel in that center of midfield, but if they keep letting Lansing dominate play like they have been for the last half hour of that first half, then that 1-0 lead might be precarious.
Two things that really stuck out to me, two defensive the net sliding.
Yep.
Those really stuck out to me as this game, could, with a couple bounces, be 2-1 Lansing right now.
Yeah, and really, really heroic defending by FC Buffalo. Kendall McFadden also chipping in on that nice little track back to deny Matt Brown
And why we're about to start the second half. FC Buffalo came out before Lansing, but now Lansing trickling back onto the field. It looks like the end.
Again, like we said before the end of the first half, Ben, really logical choices there. Getting a lot of good speed and technical ability. Really run at defenders and take that pressure off of the FC Buffalo defense.
Another substitute too, Brett Larock entering the fray. So Anthony Rosano and Brian Knapp have moved to the bench, and Jabari Danzi, number 21, and Brett Larock, number 17, who, as we said earlier, has scored 5 goals this year, 3 in NPSL Midwest competition. He scored the other 2 against
Ladies and gentlemen,
Binghamton.
we'd like to remind you that next Friday is our regular season finale against the AFC Cleveland Royals. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. There will be an autograph session after the game and other things for fan appreciation night. So we'll see you all back here next Friday at 7 o'clock against AFC Cleveland.
It looks like Lansing has the same 11 out there to start the second half. I see Owusu, Matt Brown, Cholo Petit, Jack Smith, Dunn, Gomez, Lamb, Fiskus, Andrew Hill, Ross Lindsay. So yes, same starters for Lansing. We're back underway, second half for FC Buffalo and Lansing United, a game with huge playoff implications here in the Midwest. Laid off by Andrew Ferguson and Brandell, but shielded away by Andrew Hill. Now wide to Cholo Petit. He can't win it cleanly. It goes back to Adam Lauco. Abangwase lays off to Andrew Ferguson. Ferguson sees Larock sprinting down the right wing with Freddie Gomez on him. Larock weaves back inside, pushes it past Gomez. Larock has a go with his left. That's blocked by the Lansing defense. Brandell serves back in, hit away by Austin Dunn. Chris Walter nods over to Adam Lauco. Lauco tries to see Abangwase on the touchline. It's beaten to it by Fiskus, and Lansing controls. Cholo Petit scoots down the sideline. Adam Lauco gets it for FC Buffalo. The ball rolls under Danzy's foot and out of play for a Lansing throw-in.
Yeah, good move by Buffalo earlier there. Brett Larock showing his speed and what he can bring to this game. Really rewarding Brennan Murphy for subbing him on. Breaking out from the right wing. Good ball from Andrew Ferguson as well, springing him for that run.
Forward on the left side, one-on-one with Connor Willings and Owusu. Owusu slices inside, has a drive at goal. That's just over the bar. Stephen Owusu cutting into his favored right foot, has a smash, but that's maybe a foot or so over the goal, but a good drive. And Owusu, as we saw as the danger man in the first half, continues that momentum in the second.
Yeah, Lansing's definitely brought their shooting boots tonight. A lot of those longer distance efforts in this league you'll see kind of balloon over the bar, but all these shots have either been on target or just a little bit over.
Owusu is having a hard time entering this game. Of the 23 shots he took this year, only 6 were on goal. Thanks to Lansing for actually having like a good statistician. They have a really neat little media packet that FC Buffalo probably could have as well. Brett LaRocque tugged to the ground on the edge of the box. A set piece coming up for FC Buffalo. Brett LaRocque's pace already creating problems. See Connor Willings over there for FC Buffalo. 4-man wall for Lansing.
More activity from LaRocque, drawing that foul. Really, really encouraging stuff if you're a Buffalo fan.
Willings and Ferguson, you're right, Ferguson really putting his authority over those free kicks, see if he can redeem himself for those.
He's got to be a good talker.
Those 2 very forgettable ones in the first half. Will be Connor Willings, drives it in low, doesn't get over Freddie Gomez, not a good free kick either. McFadden with the armband now from Brian Knapp, plays it forward, a searching ball for Danzy, doesn't connect. Adam Lauko now up on the left wing on Jack Smith, serves the ball to the back post, too far for Brett LaRocque. But Russ, I'm looking at these FC Buffalo attackers, and the clear message at halftime is put pressure on the Lansing back line. You see Danzy, you see LaRocque, you see Ferguson and Abangwasi, 4 players really high up the field for FC Buffalo. There's no doubt they're trying to go for the jugular in the first 5-10 minutes of the second half and really put Lansing down too.
Yeah, absolutely. And players like Danzy and Akizi are going to be able to do that. And that's what Buffalo was really missing in the attack in the first half, was that width.
Great serve from Brandel with LaRocque down the wing again, already giving headaches to Gomez. Played back in the direction of Andrew Ferguson, poked away by Jack Smith. Lindsay can't control it though, and it goes back to Ferguson. Ferguson tries a nifty meg on the wing and wins a throw-in. Throws to LaRocque. He finds space, tries to lay it off to Brandel, can't connect. Andrew Hill comes away. Sees Owusu on the left side. Owusu one-on-one with Slotemaker. Owusu puts it around him easily. Cuts back against the grain. Slotemaker does well to reestablish position. Owusu switches fields. Austin Dunn loses possession.
Nice track back by Danzy there.
Then Brandel gives it away in that long ball. And now played into Matt Brown on Kendall McFadden. A nice shoulder, a nudge there from McFadden to get Matt Brown off his stride, and the ball rolls out for a goal kick.
Yeah, a lot of room there for Matt Brown, and it just kind of rolled through on the outlet pass for him. But again, Kendall McFadden, very controlled, very level-headed, very athletic, able to shepherd Brown and the ball out for a goal kick.
50th minute here at Robert E. Rich All-High Stadium. 1-0 FC Buffalo, the goal coming in the first minute off the foot of Gwes Abangwasi. Andrew Coughlin's goal kick. Won by Ben Lamb to Matt Brown. Matt Brown can't nod it to a teammate. And Adam Lauko for FC Buffalo to Chris Walter. Walter tries a heel flick. Bounces off Ross Lindsay and out of play for a blitzer throw. Lauko picked off by Austin Dunn. Danzy pokes it away from behind, but possession moves to United. Dunn back to Jack Smith. Backpedals towards his own goalie. Square to Ben Lamb. Lamb leaves it for Jack Smith now. Jack Smith, a long ball forward to Cholo Petit. Petit does well to get his body in front of Lauko, but it falls to Slotemaker. Slotemaker can't connect on a short ball, and it's out of play. Fox Slotemaker's strength is not necessarily that intermediate passing game, as you can see there.
Yeah, always need to put a premium on defenders who can play the ball out of the back effectively.
Here's Slotemaker again, and this time his pass to LaRocque is better. LaRocque is pestered by Andrew Hill, but Andrew Ferguson comes away with it. Only as far as Ben Lamb, who hits forward towards Cholo Petit. The ever-aggressive Chris Walter wins that, but Willings tries to poke away, and that's given away. Some seesawing possession here in the midfield. Now Petit with a chance to run at the defense. Spins from Brandel. Brandel gets a shirt tug, but it was equally as pushy from Cholo Petit, and it'll be a free kick for the Blitzers.
Yeah, it's turned into a really open game. It's not so much Lansing one-way traffic, but still a lot of space in that midfield, and Lansing's taking advantage. But as we saw earlier, Rock is doing a great job of getting down that right channel.
Russ, it seems to me that FC Buffalo is playing more of a 4-4-2 now. And I say that with... Maybe I don't agree with that. Never mind. I don't think I agree with what I just said.
Let's see. Where's Chris Walter?
So Walter and Brandel are still two holding mids, but there's a gap right in front of them, which is part of the problem, which is why I'm having a hard time diagnosing what kind of a formation they're playing. Because I don't know who that number 10 is right now. I guess it's Andrew Ferguson, but...
Yeah, Ferguson has dropped deeper into the midfield, but you might want to see Eric Dahl fill that role as we move later on in the game. If that pushes Ferguson to the bench or up top, we'll have to see.
Walter scoots past Lindsay. Abongwase goes to turf, no foul. But FC Buffalo gets it back with Rob Brandel. Brandel sees Larocque on the right wing, chooses not to play it to him, has Chris Walter. Walter, ambitious ball down the line for Danzy to run onto. Danzy pushed to ground. Referee keeps the whistle in his mouth, and it's going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, kind of a borderline call there. Could have seen it given, but good battling by Danzy. Just came out on the wrong end of the balance equation.
And a real size discrepancy there between Jimmy Fiskus and Jabari Danzy. So if there's an edge that's going to go to somebody's shoulder, it's probably going to be Fiskus's. Jack Smith over to Fiskus. Fiskus drives to Andrew Hill, who tries a back heel to Cholo Petit, picked off easily by Kendall McFadden. Walter to Lauco. Now Lauco gives it away to Jack Smith.
You see Quest dropping deep there again, supporting your point of maybe having another player on there in a number 10 role.
Here's Owusu in an advanced position. He gets in behind Connor Willings, has a chip towards the back post. Should have done better there, Russ. He was in behind Connor Willings, had a look at net from a bad angle, but...
Kind of ironically, because that Erie game doesn't really affect Buffalo too much in this playoff race.
Right.
But you can't fault the passion.
And don't write off Minnesota United, apparently. Down to 10 men. Ball played forward, McFadden pushed by Matt Brown. Matt Brown with a chance, puts it over Andrew Coughlin and just wide of the right post.
Kind of a ball don't lie situation there. It was a clear push on McFadden. And
on Matt Brown, who pushed McFadden, just to clarify, yeah.
Excuse me, yes. And, usually you'll see Matt Brown put those away, but...
Matt Brown, who had a terrific year last year, captaining Lansing to the NPSL Midwest, or NPSL at large Final Four.
Yeah, great first year for this club. Like you said earlier, they're very, very well run, professionally run in terms of on the field and off the field. They get good crowds out. I believe they play at Michigan State's stadium.
They did against DCFC, as I remember. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's a good organization. I really like Eric Rudlin, their head coach. I've had the opportunity to talk to him a bit. Cholo Petit in behind, blocked again by McFadden on Andrew Hill. Just a terrific anticipation by Kendall McFadden to get his.
Performance so far.
Freddie Gomez to throw for Lansing deep on the left side. Throws it short to Cholo Petit. It's Ferguson right on his back. Tries to dip away. Still shields off. Andrew Hill back to Cholo Petit. Petit and Ferguson, but Ferguson wins it from him. Brett Larocque plays short, and it'll be a set piece for FC Buffalo. Terrific defensive work by Andrew Ferguson there. Better sustained possession in the middle, and some of that coming maybe not necessarily in the offensive third, but maybe deeper and being able to spring some guys on the wing. right now it's coming out of the back, and it's making it difficult for FC Buffalo's attackers to really establish possession in a place where they actually want the ball.
Yeah, the most active they've been has been on the wing. So, you know, what's the move for Buffalo now that you have that pace on either side? You know, you've got LaRock and you've got Danzy, but can you say slide Eric Dahl in there to calm things down and you know, set a rhythm? It's a question that's got to be answered.
Russ, how do you think this game sort of lines up for Eric Dahl? Eric Dahl is definitely a finesse player, as Connor Willing serves the ball into Nolan in particular, but it's caught by Wes Mink.
You know, we've talked about this earlier in the season, Ben, with Eric Dahl. You know, he's more of a finesse player, definitely not the biggest guy. So when teams get physical with him, it kind of knocks his game off. However, there's a ton of space in the middle here, so he might have a good opportunity to operate.
Ball played in behind is Matt Brown, but Kendall McFadden gets a piece of that.
Offside anyway.
And the flag is up. And the center points to the linesman, and it'll be a free kick for the Blitzers. 58th minute here in Buffalo, with the Blitzers lead 1-0 over Lansing United. Just to get you updated on the standings, Lansing United positioned in third in the NPSL Midwest, 1 point ahead of FC Buffalo. Ball played over top for Jabari Danzy. His touch lets him down, and a throw for Lansing. Taken quickly back to Jimmy Fiskus. Now to Ben Lamb. Ben Lamb pokes towards Jack Smith, but Wes Albangwase is there. Tackled desperately by Smith to Cholo Petit, who comes away with it. Albangwase all the way back in his own zone, wins the ball defensively. Russ, have you seen a lot more attention paid to Wes Albangwase?
I'm not sure if it's attention as much as it is just lack of service. He really hasn't been involved tonight, and Lansing has done well to defend him, but just really hasn't seen as much of cohesion from the last game.
Nice 30-yard run by Chris Walter. Sets up Andrew Ferguson on the wing. Ferguson now darts and has a strike with his left, blocked by Ben Lamb. Really nicely done there by Andrew Ferguson to take a look right when he got a glimpse of daylight. But Lamb again with another crucial block. Slotemaker just heaves it forward and it bounces right to Wes Mink. Lansing chasing the game a bit, but they don't seem like they're in too much of a hurry. Giveaway though by Jack Smith, but Ferguson and Albangwase not on the same page, and that's given away. 60th minute here, 1-0 Blitzers.
Yeah, usually you see Andrew Ferguson make more of those opportunities that giveaway from Lansing there, but just a bit of a misjudgment on the pass.
Very nice dummy by Jack Smith there, but then Ross Lindsay gives it right back to Jabari Danzy for FC Buffalo. Willings over to Brandell, now to Chris Walter. Walter switches fields towards Brett LaRock, won by Freddie Gomez, who then clobbers LaRock. LaRock, but his leg out, and then he collides with LaRock. Gomez holding his lower back. LaRock still hopping around like a rabbit.
Fans Big Ditch Brewing Company is happy to introduce FC. That's FC Buffalo's beer refreshing summer brew, available only at Mesquite, as well as Big Ditch Brewing Company headquarters. That's FC Buffalo's beer.
We'll see two substitutions here in the 61st. Bobby Ross entering the match for FC Buffalo, number 3. Number 16, Jake Prudhomme for Lansing. He'll take out Freddie Gomez. Gomez, who had an up-and-down game, very involved in the attack, had some shaky distribution.
FC Buffalo substitution. Entering game number 3, Bobby Ross. For number 6, Rob Randell.
Randell's day is over. We'll see where that puts Bobby Ross. I wonder if looks like he's gonna be one of the two holding midfielders with Chris Walter, perhaps. A position we're not accustomed to see Bobby Ross playing. That's where he played at Brockport as well. LaRock gets ahead to that long throw from Ross, but can't direct it on frame, out for a goal kick.
Or we might be able to see Connor Williams push up in the midfield and Bobby Ross slide in at right back.
That is correct, Russ. I think that's exactly what head coach Brendan Murphy and assistant coach Bob Roach have done here.
Probably a sharp move too. You're seeing the defense.
A great header through by Andrew Ferguson. Abangwase collides with Jimmy Fiskus. Those are two big boys going head to head there. I think Fiskus the worst for wear, but he managed to deny that attack as Abangwase headed that ball down past him and they just ran into each other.
Yeah, it didn't seem a foul so much as just incidental contact.
Yeah. Now a tackle and a free kick won. An FC Buffalo player writhing on the turf. I think that's Bobby Ross. Just onto the game, and a yellow card is given to either Jack Smith or Jake Prudhomme. I can't really tell.
Number 5, Lansing, Jack Smith.
It's Jack Smith. Ross, who just came into the game as a substitute, does not look like he's milking this one at all. He is on the ground. The trainer is still on the side, though. Hasn't been beckoned out yet. Kind of surprised by that, Russ.
Might have gotten the wind knocked out of him. Well, speculation won't do any good over here, but as we're talking, we see Nanu Ferguson warming up, getting ready to come on. We'll see, depending on how Bobby walks us off, who he comes in for.
Very unnatural gait there for Bobby Ross after that foul. We'll see if, as you said, if it'll get better as he gets to jog around a little bit, but he's laboring pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
A sub for a sub is not the end of the world in the NPSL. It's the ball sent in. Abangwase with his back to goal. Gets around Jack Smith. Jack Smith on a yellow as well just now. Smith with a block. Out of play for a long throw. Bobby Ross still kind of pacing back and forth, trying to see if that right ankle is trustworthy. Throw for Connor Williams for FC Buffalo in the 64th minute. Deep in the right corner. Long throw right to Wes Mink. Almost like it was an intentional throw. It's one of those situations where you'd like to see Gwes Abangwase get right on the goalie and make that kind of a catch difficult for Wes Mink.
Right.
Lamb plays forward to Lindsay. Over to Cholo Petit. See, Petit and Owusu have switched sides again. Switch fields. Adam Lauko wins that header sky high to Austin Dunn with a nice first touch to Owusu down the line, but Adam Lauko's there, hopes for a deflection, doesn't get any help from the AR, and it's a throw for Lansing. Jack Smith for United. Tries to beat two guys on the dribble, can't do it, but Gwes Abangwase gives it right back to United.
Yeah, Ferguson and Gwes having a little bit of a difficulty hooking up tonight.
I think some of that's familiarity.
Yeah, definitely. Only a game in. You're going to have those types of problems. But, hopefully there's a long playoff run involved and they can find that chemistry.
Jack Smith forward, flicked on backwards by Chris Walter, but then won by McFadden. Andrew Ferguson, nice square ball to Chris Walter with Cholo Petit on his back. Now Jabari Danzi tries to swing around Austin Dunn, not enough room for him to do so. Chris Walter apparently is ruled to have gotten the ball, and then Cholo Petit comes sliding in from behind. Now Chris Walter head-to-head with Jack Smith, but Jabari Danzi has a break on the left side. He's pushed off by Fiskus on a play for a goal kick.
Referee really letting him play there.
Chris Walter shoving Matt Brown to the defense to something that Matt Brown said. Matt Brown found himself on the ground really quickly. Now discussion with Stephen Owusu, who's yelling, berating the center official. Matt Brown still on the ground. Chris Walter has a sip of water on the bench to kind of cool his jets. I don't think either of the referees, I don't even know if the fourth saw that.
Well, he just got booked, so somebody must have saw it. Not sure what the call's going to be here. as the looked like the initial call was a corner for Buffalo, but I didn't see any indication of a foul being called.
Bash Brothers moment there with Kendall McFadden and Chris Walter both getting a couple good shoves in there.
Yeah.
As I alluded to earlier, Russ, Matt Brown loves to get in frays like that. And
Yes.
It seems like without fail, he ends up on the ground each time.
Always looking for personality in this league.
Connor Willings will serve this ball in. Curls to the back post. Flicked away by Lansing. Brett LaRocque lets it roll out of bounds for an blister throw-in. Now we'll see the substitution finally with Nanu Ferguson entering the game. Nanu will replace... It appears to be Gwes Abanwasi.
Yeah.
The substitution for Lansing is Matt Ricard. His debut.
Substitution, number 14, Matt Ferguson, for number 9, Gwes Abanwasi.
Gwes leaves to a round of applause, scoring the only goal in the match and 26 seconds in. Here's LaRocque's throw, flicked by Lauco, but Fiskus clears that one.
And right now looking at a third place in the NPSL Midwest.
Willings' throw met by Adam Lauco, but gets a lot of pace on that. Sideline warming up for FC Buffalo. Still no sign of Julian Akizi or Kevin Kapik. Andrew Hill serves forward, Bobby Ross gets to it. Brett LaRocque chests back to Willings. Fiskus turns away from LaRocque nicely, plays square to Austin Dunn. Dunn inside, back to Fiskus. Fiskus sees Ben Lamb. Lamb over to Jake Prudhomme, the substitute. Now Lamb clips forward up to Matt Rickard, plays a square ball to Jack Smith, dispossessed though by Javari Danzy. Danzy, it's a shoulder in on Rickard. Danzy's showing off some strength there. Lansing eventually wins it though. But Brett LaRocque takes it away. LaRocque over to Matt Nanu Ferguson. Ferguson serves into Andrew Ferguson, but that's poked away, and Wes Mink will grab it for Lansing. Wow.
Well, Ben, out of town scoreboard, it's escalated quickly over in Madison, 6-3 Madison.
Ball forward by Rickard to Matt Brown. Matt Brown tries to hit over McFadden. Now McFadden tracks down again. A very firm tackle from McFadden. Definitely just owned Matt Brown on that play. Forward to Chris Walter, who flicks it up to Javari Danzy. Danzy working hard to get the ball. Cholo Petit gets to it and a throw in for Lansing. Good work by Cholo Petit to come back and win that ball. But Kendall McFadden really put his stamp on that one-on-one battle with Matt Brown, winning it cleanly and getting the ball forward and keeping possession.
He's had a whale of a match. Definitely my man of the match so far.
Andrew Hill over to Jack Smith. Jack Smith. Short ball to Cholo Petit, won by Adam Lauco. Chris Walter, the Destroyers, there to pick it up, but Matt Brown tracks back well to keep it. The ball up to Rickard. Rickard turns. Tackled by Willings, only as far as Matt Brown though. Brown lays off to Petit, one-on-one with Lauco in the right wing. Tries to serve across, blocked by Lauco. There's Matt Ferguson, serves the ball to Danzy down the line. Danzy will pressure Wes Mink, but Mink clears that ball from danger. Chris Walter wins the header only as far as Jack Smith. Smith with a good settle and bring down to Cholo Petit. Back to Jack Smith. Smith serves forward. Can't hit it over McFadden though, who wins it with his head down to Chris Walter. Nanu Ferguson now in the 72nd minute, protecting a 1-0 FC Buffalo lead. Connor Willing square to Chris Walter. Walter darting through the middle to Andrew Ferguson. Back to Walter, now to Lauco on the left side. Lauco plays Jabari Danzy, who has Brett Larock down the line. Larock one-on-one with Fiskus. Nifty footwork from Larock, but the double team from Austin Dunn gives it away. Austin Dunn to Andrew Hill now. Andrew Hill with a nice turn by Chris Walter and a service over the top. Bobby Ross there. Giveaway from Bobby Ross. There's Matt Brown, a diving save by Andrew Coughlin. Tremendous reaction after a giveaway from Bobby Ross. Forced Andrew Coughlin into a tough spot. Coughlin dove to his right, parried that one away. A great save by the FC Buffalo keeper.
Incredible save. Incredible.
A red card given to Steven Owusu. That's his second yellow and he's out.
Wow.
What a turn of events. He's not going to leave without an argument either. Owusu still having words with the ref. Ref just quietly points to the sideline. Owusu just doesn't really know what to do right now. He's refusing to leave the field.
FC Buffalo saw their season flash before. But again, Coughlin, an excellent shot stopper. And then I'll have to confess you couldn't really see what transpired, Ben.
I think it was dissent, Russ.
Just dissent. But yeah, one of Lansing's most dangerous threats on the field gone, and Buffalo the man advantage with a little over 15 minutes to play here.
And silly, Russ. Unnecessary from Owusu. Owusu needs to understand that he's on a yellow.
Yes.
That's a very...
You're an emotional guy. You get into situations like that, and you're competitive, and you see red flashes and the red flashes.
Two substitutions here. Julian Myers in for Lansing. He replaces Cholo Petit.
We've got Eric Dahl also coming on for Buffalo.
Replacing... Oh, there's for... Larock in behind, has a shot. Asa Miller, number 12, and Leo Melgar, number 14. Matt Brown going out, as well as Austin Dunn. So that's Dunn and Brown to the bench. Leo Melgar wearing 14, Asa Miller, number 12, in for Lansing. 10 minutes to go here in Buffalo. A dreadful set piece from Adam Lauko goes basically straight out of play with a throw-in coming up for Lansing.
We'll forgive him with the goal line clearance.
Lauko redeems himself by winning the header initially. Dahl overruns the ball, and Jack Smith back for it. Smith back to his keeper, Wes Mink. Mink floats the ball right into the center of the field to Willings. Now Boyce Kumalo lays off to Jake Prudhomme, who has some space to run down the wing. Sees Matt Rickard. Rickard plays Julian Myers on the right side, has an overlap. Asa Miller, who's there. Miller serves the ball in. Letting it go was an attacker for Lansing. Connor Willings will make his exit here in the 82nd minute. Outstanding match from Willings, getting that assist on the corner kick in the second goal. Back as well, so a tremendous game from Connor Willings. First class stuff.
After the game for FC Buffalo, number 15, Ian Moore for number 8, Connor Willings.
Ian Moore at the Geneseo. He'll play a holding mid right next to Chris Walter. Danzy pokes away from Julian Myers. Myers, number 19 for Lansing, will throw in. Melgar checks to him, brings it down with a flick over Lauko's head. Chris Walter gets his head down and Lauko heads from danger. Jack Smith brings down with his chest. Flicked forward, but Lauko wins that header. Then gets in front of Julian Myers again and shields Myers out of bounds, who pushes him. Great defense.
Everything they have against Buffalo right now, trying to have some kind of prayer in the last 8 minutes, score a goal. Be able to relieve some of that pressure from the past few minutes.
83rd minute, FC Buffalo leading 2-0. Goals from Gwes Omagwasi and Brett Larock. Lansing down to 10 men. A second yellow picked up by Stephen Owusu. Also today, Lansing's best attacker. Forward to Melgar. Slotemaker anticipates that well and gets a piece. Now Kumalo forward. No one in particular there though, and Kendall McFadden disguised the ball away. Pretty touch from Ben Lamb up to Jake Prudhomme. Prudhomme pressured by Dahl. Chasing down the left wing. Prudhomme serves in. Julian Myers forced to turn back towards the sideline. One-on-one with Lauko with Jabari Danzy helping. Good pressure back from Danzy. Myers with a step over, but out for a throw for Lansing. Deep in the right corner. Taken quickly by Myers to Melgar. Melgar back to Myers. Some bodies in the box for Lansing, but Myers gives that away to Ian Mort. And Matt Ferguson skies that one away from danger.
Attention fans, there's a Buffalo Sabres watch. Appears to be a youth size. It was found in the bathroom of your child or a very small person missing a Buffalo Sabres watch onto the press box.
Ben Lamb with it for Lansing. Plays Kumalo's feet. Kumalo pressured by Dahl. Dahl gets a touch to it, but it goes back to Jack Smith. Smith to a checking run of Julian Myers. Myers over to Jimmy Fiskus. Fiskus sees Myers. Won by Adam Lauko. I feel like a broken record saying won by Adam Lauko, but he wins everything in his vicinity.
Yeah, he's been excellent tonight. Full time, Fort Pitt running over 4-2 winners over Erie. They'll be Buffalo's opponents on Sunday as Buffalo travels south for the next home game. Or I'm sorry, excuse me, the next league game.
Yep. What's happening in the 10th goal?
I hope so.
Long throw by Lauco, won by Fiskus. Jack Smith heads towards Kumalo. Kumalo swings that ball forward to Melgar. Both he and McFadden go up for it. It bounces to Lauco, who just sends the ball upfield. We're in the 86th minute now. Kumalo touching it at midfield. Kumalo, who hasn't played in a competitive game apparently for over a year. It's a giveaway from Rick.
Ben, full credit for the Situation Room is always excellent, but the Sons of Ransom have been singing the entire game, even down 10 men and down 2 goals with only 5 minutes left. They've been definitely giving it a full 90 effort.
It's nice to see supporters groups, Russ. I mean, regardless, but especially ones that travel.
Oh yeah, and Lansing's not an easy drive either.
No. Jack Smith to Myers, now to Asa Miller on the right wing. Not shockingly, picked off by Adam Lauco. Eric Dahl springs Danzy down the left side. Danzy closed by Fiskus. Fiskus does a great job of getting his body in front of Danzy. But then Fiskus, what a save by Wes Mink. Then Dahl has a drive that goes over the bar. A giveaway from Jimmy Fiskus allowed Brett Larock to poke the ball. Wes Mink got the initial one. Then Wes Mink made a tremendous second save. I believe that was on Larock as well, and then Dahl hit over.
Yeah, just a little bit over on the half volley it looked like, but Larock, again, his speed is just incredible. He's so quick, he just comes out of nowhere to find those spaces and be a danger like that.
High ball played up by Wes Mink to midfield. Foul whistled on.
In the Cleveland-Indiana game, it is 2-0 Cleveland with a goal from James Howe. Looks like he tapped it into an open net after the Indiana keeper went up to the corner.
Matt Nanu Ferguson square to Eric Dahl. Dahl plays in Larock. Larock tackled from behind. Good last-ditch defending from Lansing there.
Corner kick to FC Buffalo.
I think that was.
Results hold. Buffalo will go to third. Madison will go to first. Detroit in second. And Cleveland will leapfrog will be tied with Lansing on 17 points for the last spot.
Still FC Buffalo's trip on Sunday, very, very important still. One where 3 points.
Yeah. We have the math in front of us, but would not be surprised.
Nice move from Matt Ferguson. Serves it back to Eric Dahl. Dahl with a hit towards goal. He's frustrated with himself. Didn't hit that left-footed volley cleanly.
That fooled me as well, Nick. It looked like it took a pretty obvious deflection on the way out, but I guess the referee disagreed.
Ian Mort with a volley ahead to Eric Dahl. Dahl pokes beyond. Kind of hung his leg out there and then sprawled away, but he won a free kick.
Brutal landing.
Brutal landing is right. We're in the 90th minute now in Buffalo. FC Buffalo leading 2-0. Thank you very much for joining us on WNYmedia.net and 91.3 WBNY. Goals from Gwes Abangwasi and Brett Larock tonight for FC Buffalo. Too much. Played into Ian Mort.
You know, Ben, we were worried earlier on this season, but those draws and those results, especially on the road coming back, really laid a solid foundation for wins like this, where they're in really great playoff position now.
Chris Walter steps in, pokes the ball around the defender, has a goal. Goal! Chris Walter! 30th minute, 3-0. 90th minute, 3-0 FC Buffalo.
The old space, poked it through, finished well, far post, 3-0 Buffalo.
Ross, what will look like a convincing win for FC Buffalo, and they did everything right. They defended tremendously. Andrew Coughlin made a couple good saves, and getting a goal in the first minute is never a bad thing either.
Yeah, definitely not, and it really could have gone the other way. Lansing was very good for the rest of that first half, and again, I really, really love Kendall McFadden's game tonight. He was fantastic and really cut things out when things got dicey and let Buffalo, work their way to the second half with a man advantage, with the Brent LaRock goal, and with what we just saw from Chris Walter.
It's going to be really tough to hand out a man of the match. It seems like McFadden is really your call. I think Lauko's mine.
Yeah, that'd be fair too, I think.
We're in stoppage time now. 3 or 4 minutes, I think, is the ref signal. Eric Dahl tries to flick, doesn't get a good piece of it, but then Jack Smith gives it away. Jack Smith pretty tired after playing all 90 minutes in that holding midfield role for Lansing. Asa Miller over to Boyce Kamalo. Kamalo serves up towards Julian Myers, but Lauko hits it and it's a throw-in for Lansing. Asa Miller for United. Serves into Melgar. Melgar lays off to Julian Myers. Julian Myers serves to Jack Smith, who flicks towards the back post. Nothing doing though, and FC Buffalo advancing up the right side. Matt Ferguson plays along to Brent LaRock, seemingly has endless energy. Ushered out of bounds by Lansing for a throw.
Ben, we had assistant coach Bobby Roach on the FC Buffalo show a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us about how he approached his recruiting efforts and how he's kind of tasked with assisting Coach Murphy in really building the squad. And you can really see the fruits of the labor here. The first half of the season, Buffalo really didn't set the world on fire, but they're peaking at the right time, and this portends really well for the rest of the season, and hopefully and likely from this point on, playoff spot.
Andrew Coughlin puts the ball down, and that's the final whistle. FC Buffalo wins at home 3-0 over Lansing United. FC Buffalo jumps into the standings and moving to third place in the NPSL Midwest. Thank you for joining us on WNYmedia.net and 91.3 WNY. For Russ Andolina, I'm Ben Sujimoto. Have a good night.
Yeah, man. It looks solid.
In the NPSL, congratulations, Coach Murphy.
You want one cheese and one pepperoni?
And our FC Buffalo player of the game, in the clean sheet, center back and captain number 20.